college football. Yesterday, Michigan fired their head coach, Sherrone Moore, for, quote, inappropriate relationship with a staff member, according to the school. That is just the tip of the iceberg this morning. And this has obviously been an ongoing story into yesterday afternoon. For more on this, we welcome in Adam Schefter, who has been a part of the reporting on this. And Adam, can you take us through what transpired yesterday?
Yesterday was a wild day. And I think if we go back to the season, there have been whispers and murmurs about things that have been happening. And Michigan's HR department looked into it and found no wrongdoing. Now, clearly something transpired here this week that changed things, that changed the equation to lead Michigan to fire Sherrone Moore with cause and to say that he had an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. That leads to a series of events yesterday that culminates with him showing up somewhere and him being detained in the Washtenaw County jail. Now, we've heard Michigan's side of this. It feels like he had an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. What we haven't heard yet is Sherrone Moore's side of this. And he gets his say into this particular situation as well. And I do know that he felt like people had it in for him for an awful long time there while he was at Michigan. He felt like there were people who were out to get him. So all these things can all be true. It's possible that, yes, Michigan does have evidence that he had an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. And it could be that Sherrone Moore is right, that people had it in for him. But the whole situation itself is just sad and tragic, because now we have a individual who had his professional life, his personal life completely upended. We have a school with a bunch of players who don't have a coach to turn to right now. We have a school in search of a program, a new coach to lead forth that program. There are a whole host of things that have transpired here that have led this to be a completely surreal, wild situation that if you heard about it, you wouldn't believe it because it almost seems made up.
Adam, thank you for the information. Number one, when we talk about a staffer, are we talking about somebody that's in a subordinate position? Number one. Number two, how long has this investigation been going on? The way it came out, a lot of people are acting like it's something that Michigan just found out, but there are other reports that were saying that it was an ongoing investigation where discovery ultimately came about over the last few days. What can you tell us about that?
Well, my understanding, again, is there had been talk and whispers about this for weeks, if not longer. This is not something that surprised a lot of people around the Michigan football program. This is not something that surprised a lot of people. If I'm hearing about it weeks ago, then other people are hearing about it. Now, again, my understanding is that HR looked into it weeks ago, and HR was unable to corroborate any of the claims that people had made or any of the accusations that had been levied. Again, yesterday, Michigan makes the decision to fire him with cause. The first black head coach in school's history, a man who had been a part of the national championship team a couple of years ago, a man who was viewed as a leader, who they gave a 5-year contract worth $5.5 million a year to, that he had an inappropriate relationship with a staffer. You don't do that unless you feel like you have irrefutable evidence in the eyes of the university. Something changed this week where something or somebody came forward to the school and presented evidence that changed the school's mind and caused it to act the way that it did.
Shefty, when you say
any credibility whatsoever to the, I don't want to use the word conspiracy theorist, but any credibility whatsoever to the notion that Michigan wasn't necessarily high on him before this incident took place. And obviously, you know, a buyout is only about $14 million, so I can't imagine that that's a big deal. But I'm wondering how they were feeling about him before all of this stuff unfolded. What can you tell us about that?
I believe that he had key support in the positions and places that mattered. I believe that this evidence that was uncovered here resulted in the situation unfolding the way it did. Now, again, I want to be very clear, Stephen A. This is the Michigan version, and Sherrone Moore is entitled to his version. And I think he would agree with what you're saying, that there were people out to get him. I think he actually definitely would agree with that and has felt that way as a coach at the University of Michigan. But I think in this particular case, both things can be right. There were people that were out to get him, perhaps, and he was made to feel a certain way. And there was evidence that turned up that implicated him in the school's eyes, that led the school to act the way that it did. I think in this case, both things actually can be true.